back with another episode of Sit Down here. I'm your host, Ernest. We got my guy, Jay Miner. And today our guest is South Carolina football legend, Stephen Garcia, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Legend. That's quite a statement. That's a bold statement.
Oh no, nah, you was definitely a legend on the field and off the field. So we definitely gonna talk about it. Now,
That's fair. That's fair.
just wanted to start off with just a quick story for you guys who don't know. Steven Garcia, South Carolina quarterback legend, but he coached me for a period of time during 707. So this is a little quick story of Steven. So we pulling up to a tournament one day. So we normally have a dude who called the plays, but he was not here. But we see Steven on the field. We're like, man, who this with the long hair? Like, who calling the plays? Coach Grady said, hey, whatever he say, listen to him. So I was like, we all right. Keep in mind, Ern, this man don't got no cleats on, bro. No socks, no cleats, bro. He barefoot on the field, bro, calling the plays. We like, bro, who is the dude, bro? Ern, we get to the huddle. I'm telling you, every play that he drew up was either a first down or a touchdown. That's why I was like, oh yeah, bro, this dude
Oh,
different.
bro was cooking, huh?
Hey, Ern, this dude different. And they was like, man, this man played quarterback at South Carolina. I said, oh, really? And so the more and more you be around him, more you get to hear about his history growing up in Tampa, being a Tampa legend and going to South Carolina. So just leading into my first question, Stephen, how they get you out of Tampa to go to South Carolina? Like what on them visits, what coaches conversations were you having to make you go to South Carolina?
Man, that's now first off, I still don't wear a whole lot of shoes, man. So that's a funny ass story. I do remember that actually. Um, but yeah, it's actually I'm gonna crack one of these open while I'm thinking about it. So cheers, boys. uh, but yeah, man, to be honest, Coach Spurrier, and I started another podcast with my old teammate Pat DeMarco, and we ask all of our old teammates, why did you come to Columbia? What was the purpose of that? And I'll tell you, man, Coach Spurrier gave a different pitch compared to every other coach. He said you can go to Oklahoma, go to Florida, Notre Dame, Southern Cal, wherever all these other schools that you got offers from, where they've been historically good. They already have a rich history, rich tradition, or you can come to South Carolina where historically we've sucked. We haven't won shit. So, you kind of create your own legacy, your own tradition. And, we did. And unfortunately, in more ways than one. But, that was college. And, you know, as they say, shit happens.
Yeah. Into
Okay, man. So talk about just a little bit more about high school. So you went to Jefferson. I know a little bit about Jefferson. I think my high school coach. I think Coach T said he won a championship. There, Jay Minor, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, he said he was on the coaching staff.
Now, did Jefferson win the title? Were they good when you were there, man? They should
Oh
have been
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, man, we were good. Shit, we went to the state championship my sophomore year. We ended up getting our ass whipped by Jacksonville Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
But we went from shit. We went to the state championship the sophomore year. Junior year, I think we went to the third round. Senior year, we played and we lost in the third round again to Armwood, who ended up losing to Plant, and then Plant, went on their, pretty successful run. But yeah, Jefferson's always been good, and I think the last couple of years they've struggled a little bit. But my son's over there now, which is absolutely crazy.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on that. Now, all the people you played while you was in high school, who would you say was like the craziest like player you had to play against in the Tampa Bay area?
Oh shit! I mean, it's not even a doubt of it in my mind. It's Torrey Davis played at Armwood,
Mm-hmm.
defensive tackle. Ended up he was an All American. Went to Florida, played at Florida. But I remember, I mean, I could roll back in high school. I mean, I could haul ass. And this damn guy is 250, 270 pounds, and he freaking hawks me down and pulls me by my hair and like drags me down. I'm like, all right, this we're in trouble, man. This son of a bitch can make some plays.
You in for
Yeah.
a long night, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Armwood, shit, they were good since I was been in high school, so they've had a nice little run going for them.
Yeah, and then just looking at different recruiting websites, some say you were a dual threat, some say you were a pro style quarterback. Coming out, what were you? Were you a dual threat? What were you
I,
considered? So,
I mean, I feel like I was dual threat. Like I said, I could run. I was probably high 4.5s. But like I said, playing against Torrey Davis my senior year, and then getting into Columbia and playing against the SEC guys, it's like I'm not a dual threat anymore. I'm not. I am not. I got to put some weight on and become a pocket passer. And yeah, that's kind of where I went from there.
And then ultimately you end up choosing South Carolina. Was there any other schools that you felt personally that you were close to going to, or was it always South Carolina for you?
Oh no, it was. I mean, it was close between Ole Miss. I mean, I was very close to going to Ole Miss.
Mm.
Ed Ogeron was the head coach there, and I was went up there for a visit. I was getting ready to commit, and something just told me just give it a little bit more time and take another visit to South Carolina, and I did. And next thing you know, Coach Ogeron calls me like, "Hey, Garcia, I ain't gonna be here much longer. I ain't gonna be here much longer." And that was in it. That was the end of that. But then yeah, then Oklahoma came on, very strong a little bit later because their quarterback got in trouble for doing. I think he was like selling cars or some shit like that. And anyways, they had to kick him off the team. So yeah, it kind of came down to Oklahoma and South Carolina. And South Carolina's a little bit easier of a transportation. I can drive up there, and Coach Spur said all the right things, and I fell in love with the city of Columbia.
Did the city of Columbia, were y'all participating in NIL before NIL?
They were. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but there were guys that were probably getting some handshakes with some money in it. I was not one of those guys, unfortunately. I actually got a pretty funny story about that. And I'm sure the statute of limitations is already gone by now, but we're sitting there like signing autographs in one of the bowl games, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's some big names on the team, and we go down there, we're signing autographs for these guys, and they end up, getting a little handshake, and I'm like, "Hey, where's my handshake?" The guys look at me, they were like, "Man, you're white. You come from money. You don't need any money." I'm like, "Motherfucker, I said, my parents got money. I don't have shit. I'm a broke college kid, man. Give me some damn money."
Hey,
So yeah, it
hey,
was pretty crazy. But dude, I mean, the stuff that these guys are getting now is out of control. Out of control.
hey, Aaron, that led me to my next question. So let me go ahead and ask this. What you feel like you would have made in NIL?
Oh man,
They
I
would
don't
have
even
had
want to think,
merch. They
dude.
would
I
have
wouldn't even.
selling beer
I,
bottles at the game with your
I,
face on it.
I'm
Exactly.
telling you,
Anything.
I'm telling you, man. It breaks my heart to even think about it, but it's all part of the deal, and I can't sit there and contemplate and worry about it too much. It is what it is, and I'll tell you what, I do feel like these guys definitely deserve to get paid. Jordan, I mean, we busted our ass. We we deserve to get paid other than just scholarship. But
Yeah,
the amount of money these guys are making for not even playing, not even getting any significant reps at the collegiate level is just crazy to me.
definitely a different time.
So do you
Definitely.
think they should put a cap on it, like some kind of regulation, or what do you think?
They got to do something, right? I mean, they can't. It's the Wild West right now. You got NIL, you got the transfer portal. It's out of control, man. I mean, I go up to South Carolina often, and I got a chance to sit down with Coach Beamer and have him on a podcast, and I was like, Coach, man, you put on some years, man. Like what's going on? He's like, dude, I got to recruit kids out of high school. I got to recruit kids out of the portal. Once I get them here, I got to recruit them to stay here because I got Oregon, I got Florida, I got all these other schools, trying to just throw money at these guys, and he's like, it's a tough deal. But that's the ruling that's going on right now, and it is what it is. I'm just pissed off. I missed out on that opportunity.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's really like free agency now, man. Just like the NFL, they just throwing who the highest bidder at this point.
100%. And I can't blame these kids for that.
Oh
Your
yeah,
window of opportunity to make money playing this sport is that
small.
big. So it's like, why would you not make as much money as you possibly can in that window? I don't blame the kids one bit. I would 100% take advantage of the opportunity as well. I mean,
Especially
you
in
got
the
to think about
school.
it. I mean, even the coaches have been doing that forever.
Exactly.
You know, they get fired and they still get paid millions of dollars. It's
Yep.
it's so I don't feel bad about it one bit. I think it is a little crazy though. It needs to be reined in a little bit. I mean, you got to be able to pay the guys that perform, but
Hmm.
you can't pay a five-star high school quarterback. What the kid from Michigan just get 13 million or something like
10 mil, something like that. Yeah.
that? Never played a snap of college football. He was ranked high in high school. It's whatever. I don't make the rules. I don't really give a shit.
And
So
so
now,
that
go ahead, Aaron.
yeah, so that leads me to your time in South Carolina, man. So you come in as a freshman. So just just tell us about your welcome to college moment. But what was your welcome to college moment? Was it on the field or was it off the field?
Oh,
Ooh, I know he
off
got
the
both.
yeah, definitely both, but off the field for sure. Uh, yeah, so I graduated high school early, went up there in January, towards like middle or end of January. My birthday is in the early February, so I had a bunch of my boys from Tampa come up there, and we're just throwing it down or whatever. Next thing you know, I'm taking a piss in one of the alleys, and next thing you know, whoop, whoop, hear the cops come. I'm like, I ain't getting caught already. So I try to sneak out of there, and I got caught. There's not many 6'3", 220 guys with long hair and a big beard uh, in Colombia at that time, and so yeah, got arrested in my first month of being up there, which that was an eye opening experience. But then go on the field, it's just the speed and the size and the strength of these collegiate guys compared to high school. It was really unbelievable.
Mm.
You went to the gauntlet of a conference too. You ain't go to
Oh
no
shit.
Pac-12, no Big 12, nothing like that. You went to the SEC.
Yeah, I mean it's Jordan. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on this. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's the best conference, and I don't even think it's close.
Mm.
But if you're a Power Five player, it doesn't matter what conference you're in. There are freaking dogs on every level. No matter if it's P5, if it's SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, D2, D. I mean, there's players at any level. It's pretty incredible the
Yeah,
difference in talent from high school to that next level.
I definitely do say from top to bottom, SEC got the most talented players for sure. But just in terms of you coming in as a quarterback, I know you mentioned just the size and the speed of the game. Like, was the mental part, like learning the playbook and everything, was that harder than the physical part for you?
Shit, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. It was, and I'd like to think that our playbook at Jefferson was pretty advanced for the high school level,
Mm.
but you go from there to Coach Spurrier's offense, and it was like learning a whole new language, dude. Like, and then I'm sitting there, I got to read coverages, I got to know what a three cloud is, I got to know what a pressure blitz, I got to know all this stuff, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't know if I can play this position at this level. But you start practicing, you get in reps, and I'm a visual learner, so you kind of see what's going on, and there's definitely a learning curve. But it was a challenge. It was a big challenge, but at the end of the day, man, I worked my ass off to get to that level to where I could play on the field, and I like to think that I played decently enough, but um, yeah, I don't
Was
know if
there
that answered your question
no
fully.
sure? And do you feel like it was any added pressure? Because obviously Coach Spurrier was a Heisman winner as a quarterback, your position. Did you feel like it was like any added pressure in terms of that, or like how he viewed you in terms of that?
Oh, absolutely. 100% added pressure. At the time I was the highest rated recruit in South Carolina history, which was pretty big pressure. And then we had a guy named Jadeveon Clowney come in and break that record. Um, but yeah, man, it was just so much pressure. And I got a great relationship with Coach Spurrier now, and his wife Jerry. Um, but when I was playing, I would go on these little picnics with Coach Spurrier's wife, and she would just kind of like almost like a mental coach kind of deal. And she would tell me, she's like, why Steve is so hard on you because you remind him of him when he was in college to a T.
Or
And I was still a college kid. I had no idea what the hell I was doing or what I should have been doing. Um, I tell these kids right now, Jordan, you obviously know that I'm training quarterbacks, and I tell these kids, it's like, if a coach tells you to cut your hair, just cut it. If he tells you to shave your beard, just shave it. You eliminate so many heartaches and so many different, headbutting competitions with your head coach. You're not going to win those battles. I guess nowadays you can transfer pretty easily,
yeah,
but back then, man, I was just constantly like, I'm not shaving my face, I'm not cutting my hair, and I told him I was like, I'm not doing it. Eventually, he's like, all right, if you don't do it, you're not playing. So I was like, all right, where the hell's the razor at? So you know, it was a lot of pressure. He was a hard coach to play for at the quarterback position because he demanded excellence. He demanded, you be the leader and, just stuff like that. And I was a very hard headed individual. I still am, but back then I was extremely hard headed.
Hey man, so me and Jay Meyer before we hopped on here, we was just talking about the rosters y'all had at South Carolina, man, were crazy. We was thinking about Jadavion, Gilmore was there. We had Lattimore running back, right?
Yeah,
Alshon
yep.
Jeffrey.
Alshon
Alshon.
Jeffrey. We was talking about it. So all the players, the teammates you've had, who do you think was like the most talented of the bunch?
Oh man, that's such a hard question. Most talented, like probably one of the most athletic people was probably Melvin Ingram.
Ooh,
Oh my God, he went there too. Oh
Yeah,
dang.
my God.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we had him on our podcast midway through the season. He got inducted to the South Carolina Hall of Fame, so we had him on there. And I mean, the guy looks like he can still just play in the NFL right now. It's unbelievable. But yeah, he was definitely one of the more freakish athletes. Obviously, Clowney being 6'8", damn near 300 pounds, or running a 4.4. Uh, that's a pretty good, pretty big athletic guy too. But yeah, man, the guys we had around that time it was tough.
Man, oh man, I was gonna say, and then when you finally get on the field and you finally start kicking off the season, what do you feel is your favorite moment from on the field at your time at South Carolina?
Oh man, there was so many. I'll tell you what, Jordan, what I miss the most is, the locker room, like after wins. It didn't matter if we won or lost, to be honest with you. Being in the room with the lock or being in the locker room with the guys and just kind of celebrating wins, or kind of consulting each other after losses. I mean, it's an unbelievable, kind of experiment or experience for a young dude. And it's a brotherhood that you always build. I mean, getting a chance to talk with my old teammates, through this podcast has been freaking unbelievable. Kind of hearing what their backgrounds were, as kids growing up. I didn't know that when I was playing with them, at South Carolina, but now I'm getting a chance. I'm an older dude now. I can kind of see where they came from and all that. It's been really cool. But as far as like on the field stuff, really that first start against Kentucky was, that was actually no, it wasn't Kentucky, it was LSU. They just won the national championship. We had them at home at night. I was a redshirt freshman, just piss running down my leg. I'm like, God, these guys, this is gonna be hard. But we played well and had a chance to beat them. But as I said earlier, man, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's when those lights come on and you got 100,000 people screaming at you. It's there's not many better feelings.
For sure, man. Now we're talking about one of the biggest games with eyes on. I looked through the schedule, your resume. The biggest game I seen y'all won on there was that Alabama game at home.
Yep.
Walk us through what it was like beating that Alabama team.
Man, that's if you want to talk about a roster, look at Alabama's
Oh
roster
yeah,
on
I
that
seen
on that team.
Julio Jones, Ingram. I seen the
Yeah,
crew.
Trent Richardson. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they had some freaking. I mean, I feel like that entire roster is in the NFL at least for a year.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll tell you what, Coach Spurrier is always he's very high strung. That week of practice, he was as calm as I've ever seen him in person. He was like, "Yeah, Steven, just play your game, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. Play your game." And he kept saying this phrase. He's like, "Give fate a chance." And we're all like, "Coach, stop saying that, man. Like, are you just thinking that we're just gonna get our asses whipped,
I was about to
or what?"
say,
Like,
hitting defeat.
yeah, exactly. So, anyways, we just kind of went out there and just confident. And I mean, we held them to a field goal on their first drive, and then we go down and score on our first drive. So it's 7-3, and we're looking at each other on the sideline. We're like, we just drove right down their ass and scored it on our first drive. We can play with these damn guys, and we just kind of kept that confidence rolling. And I mean, that was a fun few nights after that
Oh,
win.
bro, I'm already.
But do you remember like what you did and like what those moments were like after the game? Talk about right after, and then hey, obviously off the field, what happened out and off the field.
Oh yeah, I'm married now, so I can't disclose too
Oh,
much of
shoot.
the festivities after that.
Respect,
Um,
respect.
but yeah, I mean, right after the game, which is crazy, everybody's like, "Oh, the Alabama game, that was the game of your life." Coach Spurrier gave himself a game ball. He didn't give me one. And
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty messed up. But whatever. He called a great game, and kind of instilled that confidence in us, even though he kept saying like give fate a chance. But
Mm.
anyways, yeah. So we get done with that. We go through our little post game presser, and end up going back to our house. We had a house at the time, and I mean there was probably close to 300 people, like fans, surrounding our house. I couldn't even get in,
That's wild.
and I mean I'm like trying to like kind of wiggle through to get in the door and kind of like decompress because we played at 3:30, so we
Yeah.
got back to the house around like 8, and I can't walk by without somebody like, hey, here's a beer, hey, here's a shot, hey, here's this, here's that, and
Mhm.
I'm sitting out, I'm taking it all, I'm like, yeah, whoop, whoop.
I know you used to love the morning game than early games, huh?
Oh man, those were. I mean, the night games are fun to play in for sure, uh, especially when you're playing against a big opponent. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're playing against kind of a like a, I'm not trying to throw shade, but you're playing against like a Wofford or some team that you know you're going to get, you know you're going to beat their ass.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get that over with and enjoy the rest of the day. Um, but yeah, man, we kind of had those fans kind of scattered out, and then we brought in the other like the students and everybody else. So yeah, it was pretty fun. And we didn't practice on Sundays, and we didn't the starters, if you started in the game, you didn't practice on Mondays either. So we uh we got after it pretty good, man.
That's tough, man.
Ooh, I'm already
Yeah.
knowing.
Man, talk about like the atmosphere in the stadium. Man, I forgot what game it was I was watching this year, but like I didn't know about all like the traditions South Carolina got like in the game. Like it's different, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like it's something
Uh,
special.
Yeah,
no, it yeah, yeah, man. We so that actually started that was yeah, my redshirt sophomore year, I think. We played against Ole Miss, and they were ranked number 4 at the time. And so to date, that was, you know, before we played Alabama, that was our biggest upset win. But this the song Sandstorm came out, you know, "Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na." Yeah. So I mean, that came out of nowhere, and we just look at each other, we're like, "Oh shit, let's go!"
dang,
And
I thought
yeah,
he was hurt.
oh man, it was a night game, man, and you know we were kind of beating their ass, and I mean that was undescribable, man. It was so damn fun. But yeah, I mean I talk to people around the SEC all the time, and they were saying that, you know, Williams Bryce, which is the name of the stadium, they
Mhm.
said that's one of the hardest places to play in. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's like anywhere else, any sort of road game, especially in the SEC, it's pretty damn difficult.
Facts. Every
So
week.
so Sandstorm started with when you was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's tough. That's
Yep, against Ole Miss. I gotta remember what year that was. I want to say it was my redshirt freshman year, but so that was 2008
Dang. It's
or
so
2009. I don't know, man. It's so damn long ago. It makes me feel old, man.
one of them, huh? But nah, but just during your time, obviously, sounded like you just had a great time. But just in terms of like actually in the moment, do you feel looking back at it that you actually enjoyed like being living in the moment? Because not a lot of people get to experience being a Division I player, let alone being a star quarterback in the SEC at a big time program. Like, do you feel like you got to enjoy that in the moment, or were you just living in it?
That's a hell of a question, man. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. That's a great question, dude. Um, you know, I don't know if I ever did get a chance to actually fully like look back and enjoy it, you know.
Mm.
I think I was just living in the moment, you know. And looking back, I wish I would have made some better choices, especially off the field, but you know, I was just a young kid and, you know, trying to do like what everybody else was doing on the as a normal college kid, and you can't do that when you're a QB1. You can't be like all the other college kids. So,
Yeah.
you know, I wish I would have kind of realized that and understood that. But yeah, man, that's a great question. I've honestly never even thought about that.
Yeah. Cause I always think just because like obviously my career got cut short, so like I would think from like just different perspectives, like dang, like what does it feel like to run in touchdown, like have 100,000 people scream your name, but then like in a position like obviously my quarterback at the time we had Trace McSorley and we had Sean
Yeah.
Clifford, so like just seeing them guys like being close with them, but then as well as like not understanding what they have to deal with on an everyday basis. Because at the end of the day, like you're uh, it's easy to be a college football player, but like you look at the quarterback because you know they have so many other obligations, responsibilities, not just on the field and off the field. So it's like, dang, like what is it like being in their shoes just for like a day? But now, definitely in terms of like all your stuff on the field and off the field, like it's hard and it's easy to get caught up with just the everyday
Um,
life and not being able to actually enjoy what you're doing because football players, you're so in the moment, you're so about all right, what's next, like
right.
easy to get caught up with and not
Well,
enjoy.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you know everything is kind of structured, and you have a set time where you got to be certain places, and everything's just so structured. You don't ever get a chance to kind of just sit down and have a beer and just think about what the hell's going on. I'm glad you brought that up. This is a question for you, man. Do you guys, when you were at Penn State, did McSorley or Clifford, I mean, I know Penn State's a party school, but like, did you guys all party together, or was it like kind of separated between the linemen, the D linemen, quarterbacks hung out with each other, or was it all just you guys all did shit together?
So I would like to say like we all would do stuff together. Obviously, like it's like certain cliques, like people like certain people like hanging out here, some people like hanging out here. But for the majority, like big games, like you go out, like you see some of the D linemen, you see some of the receivers, you see some of the DBs. Like I feel like we were all like close off the field as well. What? How were you guys? Were you guys like clicked up like as like one unit, or were you guys like
It
quarterback,
was
special teams went out, and like D linemen went out?
No, man, it was like that when I first got there.
Mm.
And it was kind of like, weird to me. I'm like, why the fuck are we not all hanging out together? Like we're a team, man. We do everything else together. Why
Mm-hmm.
are we not like partying together? And not just even partying, like let's go fishing, let's go paintballing, let's go do something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it wasn't like that when I first got there. Then, once I kind of got that starter kind of role, I was like, we're not doing what we used to do with the other guys. We're all I'm not we got a house now, we got a pool. I want everybody, the whole team, I want everybody out there. All right.
Yeah, that really just helps like the connection like off the field too, because especially like in them summer months when like y'all the only ones on campus too, like going through them workouts together. After the workouts, going home, just chilling, either playing video games, going to the pool, playing basketball, talking about the next workouts. It just really just makes y'all closer because like we've had years where it's like more spread out and like you can see like that off the field product it translates to on the field versus the
100%.
the years when we're close off the field, like we all know the plans after, we all go in the same place, and like it obviously led to like one of our best seasons. So yeah, I would definitely like to say that.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have that continuity, not just on the field, but off the field. Off the field is probably more important, to be completely honest with you.
For sure,
Yeah, I'm
for
definitely
sure.
glad you said that, Steve. I was just about to ask you all, like, so do y'all? So you kind of answered it already because you said like off the field more important than on the field. Because that's definitely gonna be my biggest question. Because like Jordan said, any team like that's really close together, you can see it on the field. You can see like the way they practice, the way they play. You can just see the camaraderie like just oozing from the TV. So
A
that's
hundred percent. And
that's
you can see the opposite too. You can see like
100%.
when y'all don't like each other, there's nobody celebrating with each other. They're not helping the quarterback up. They're just kind of
Yeah.
letting him pick himself up. I mean, you can. I'm sure like the normal fans don't really notice that, but I mean, every game that I watch, you can tell who gets along and who doesn't.
Yeah, you don't see them cool handshakes and stuff on the sideline. So it's a
Ex-
good indicator right there, bro.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
But to
And
piggyback,
and to be honest, man, I feel like, and I've talked with, we had like a little QB roundtable episode for our podcast in the beginning of the season, and I was sitting there talking with the guys, and you know, the quarterback is kind of the face of the program, right? For all intents and purposes.
yeah,
So when you have guys that are kind of clicked up and they're not all celebrating together, they're all kind of like whatever, doing their own thing. I think that's a direct reflection of the quarterback,
For
not
sure.
including everybody else,
hmm
not including like, hey man, like we got defensive linemen, we got receivers, we got kickers, we got like we're all doing this whole thing together. So I think when you're seeing it's kind of separated, I feel like that's a direct correlation to the quarterback.
So yeah, I want you to elaborate on that a little bit more for our audience, man. So like to the outside, the casual fans, they're gonna believe that responsibility falls on the head coach. So I want you to elaborate like why that would fall more on the quarterback.
Well, I mean, I think that it does have a little responsibility for the head coach, but he can only
Yeah,
do so much.
yeah.
He's got a family, he's got kids, he's got a life outside of football. Um, the quarterback, that's everybody's looking at QB1. Everybody wants to see like, what's this guy going to do? Is he going to include us? Is he not going to include us? And it's like we just talked about, man. You can see it. You can see it on the field. Next time for these casual fans, look at the TV and look at the sideline. Look who's interacting. If everybody's kind of pumped up together and celebrating together, you can tell that it's. I feel like it's a direct correlation to the quarterback, including everybody. If everybody's kind of separated and doing their own thing, then he probably is not including everybody at the off the field stuff.
Thanks. Just because I know from experience, like off the field too, bro. Like quarterback gets like you can be a star receiver, you can be a star running back, but still the quarterback get a different type of love off the field from not just different companies, different businesses, like different places, and like
if you're playing well, you do.
exactly. If you're
If
the
you're
star
not,
quarterback and you balling and like,
yeah,
hey, it's a party here tonight. Like, hey, the quarterback gonna be here. Hey, get all my guys in. But then there's other
right.
times the quarterbacks, hey, not just let them in. And yeah, hey, and we like that earn. So like,
I'm
the more
knowing.
the more respect you like the quarterback gets from like his teammates, like the more people are willing to ride for him. Like, it definitely is a direct reflection of that. But lead on to my next question, because I feel like at the time when you were playing quarterback, it was right at the beginning of like the changing and more into like an offensive style, like college offensive style league in
Yep.
terms of passing game. What quarterback in today, if any, could you kind of see like your game how it would translate to today?
Oh man, damn. That's a damn good question too, man. I don't really watch a whole lot of college football outside of South Carolina, just to be completely honest with you.
It
Hmm.
could be pro
Um,
guys.
you know what? I'll tell you what. Since our strength coach is now the strength coach at Arizona State, I watched a little bit of them when I could.
Ooh.
Arizona State's quarterback plays with some. He's got some shit in his veins. He throws it well, and when he needs to run, he takes off and run. And I kind of see myself as that
He
kind of
know it
player.
too. He know
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
He knows good.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And that again, you look at Arizona State last year. That's a direct correlation from I think him including everybody. And to be honest, we had the old strength coach on as our last guest actually on the podcast, and I actually asked him. I said, "Dude, like, was it like it is? Was it South Carolina?" He's like, "This kid is exactly like you off the field, 100% exactly like you." He's including everybody. Obviously, Arizona State is not a huge market. It's not the SEC. It's not, whatever. It is going to be now, especially after the little they run they had last year. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, that's a good question, man.
Nah, I was about to say, yeah, he a dog, and just watching like I didn't watch him too much in the regular season, but towards the ends when they started getting
Right.
hot, you see a
Yep.
different type of confidence that they rally behind him and Scatterboo. Like, and I would say if you guys had a different, if that team had a different relationship with the quarterback, I feel like when they got down big, they probably would have all gave up. But like you could see that they had confidence in those guys, and I feel like that definitely grew from off the field and all
No
that.
doubt about it. No doubt.
Thanks.
With your, the problems you ran into off the field, man, missing some of your senior year. If you could go back in time, what specifically would you change about yourself?
Yeah, man, that was an interesting, time. Uh, so I got suspended. It was one of our linemen's 21st birthdays. This is going after actually no, it was right before spring ball, um, my junior year. So coming off a pretty solid year, we go to the SEC championship game, lose to Auburn and Cam Newton. But first time in South Carolina history we ever made it to the SEC championship game. So, I had a lot of hype and a lot of stuff going into, the following year and my senior year, but it's one of our linemen's 21st birthdays. So I'm 22 at the time. And, we go out and have a couple of drinks, and then next thing you know, we're like, we got to go to this SEC mandated, team bonding thing.
Hmm.
And we get in there, and the lady that was running it was the athletic director's wife. And we get in there, and she's like, "All right, guys, this is a closed doors meeting. Like, nothing that you say is going to make it out, and say whatever you feel like saying." And everybody's kind of like quiet. Nobody really wanted to be there. And we started talking about, I don't know if you guys remember like Charlie Sheen and like when he was kind of going crazy in the media.
Yeah, I
So
remember
so
Charlie Sheen.
so they brought that up, and I had probably 4 or 5 cock. I wasn't loaded by any stretch of imagination, but I was voicing my opinion. I was like, I don't think what he's saying is wrong. I don't, who the hell cares? Let him talk. And eventually the lady's like, Steven, you're not letting anybody else talk. I'm like, hey, the floor is wide open. I thought, if you guys want to say something, by all means say something. And she goes, I smell liquor on your breath. I was like, yeah, because I've been drinking. I'm 22 years old. I didn't, is that not, is that, am I illegal to do that?
I mean, yeah, you
Uh,
got a point.
yeah. So she ended up kicking me out and the lineman. And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit about that. I get a call from the athletic department the next day and like, yeah, you've been suspended.
Oh,
You, yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're shitting me, right? It is a joke. No, this is not a joke. So, Yeah, got suspended for my spring ball going into my senior year. I was suspended all summer. I had to go through like this whole stipulation. I had to graduate, which I did. I was down here in Tampa on, obviously the summer is June, July. They came and randomly drug tested me once a week in Tampa. I tell people all the time, I'm probably the most drug tested player in college football history.
That's crazy.
Um, yeah. So, past all those, I'm not a, I'll drink all day long, but I don't partake in the other stuff.
Mm.
Um, so anyways, I pass all the stuff and, getting ready to go to fall camp and Coach Bear's like, yeah, it's an open competition between, the quarterbacks with Connor and, Steven. I'm like, dude, what? This, no, this is bullshit, man. Like I
Yeah,
just did all
that was
this
you.
stuff. Yeah. I was like, I just jumped through all these hoops and now you're going to anyways. So we go to play East Carolina, and he never announced the starter until right before the game. And he said, Connor, you're going to be the starter. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, you got to be absolutely shitting me. Why the hell did I come back for this? Because I was honestly thinking about putting my name in for the NFL.
I was gonna
And
say, what made you not?
our quarterback coach said, you have to come back for your senior year. We got all the returning guys coming. Let's make a run at this thing. And I was like, all right, no, that's sure. Because I forgot. I think my grade was like fourth or fifth round.
Uh,
Um, again, things happen for a reason. But maybe I just was never made to play in that league. But so I'm saying all this to kind of get where I'm going. Connor ends up not playing his best game. We're getting our ass beat at East Carolina in Charlotte. I come back in. We ended up scoring like 56 unanswered points. We end up rolling them.
Damn.
Uh, yeah, played well. And then, so then we go play Georgia. We beat their ass in Athens. That's when Melvin Ingram had 2 touchdowns. Alshon scored a handful of touchdowns. But yeah, then we play Auburn at home. And I find out my grandfather, who I was extremely close with, passed away. And okay, but let me preface this. Once fall camp started, I didn't get drug tested anymore. Not for alcohol, not for weed, not for anything. So after the games, you know, we got all the guys together, man. We're celebrating the wins. We're partying or whatever. And my grandfather dies. They send me on the team plane to come to his funeral. So I missed like a Tuesday practice. Come back on Wednesday. We end up playing against Auburn. We end up losing. And they ended up anyways, we partied after that loss. They ended up drug testing me on that Sunday morning, and they were like, "Yeah, you failed your alcohol test." And I'm like, "You're shitting me, right?" They're like, "Yeah, you
wait,
violated
wait,
the
wait,
term."
wait, wait, wait. So the alcohol
Yeah,
testing you?
yeah, yeah,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
yeah,
I went to Penn
yeah,
State and I didn't know alcohol testing was a thing.
dude, it's unreal, unbelievable. So yeah, they tell me that I failed, and the athletic director calls me in his office. He's like, "You violated the terms of our contract. You are no longer a member of this, team." And I can't, I don't want to say what I did in that meeting room. I'd probably in prison now in jail. Luckily, nobody was pressing charges. I didn't assault the damn guy, but I was throwing shit around. Um, so yeah, I said goodbye to all my professors and teammates, and I left and came back down to Tampa for I think it was like 2 or 3 days after that. Packed all my shit up and drove back down, and that was the end of that was the end of the career at South Carolina. And I was in a dark place, dude. Like I
Oh,
come back here, and Memphis was that's my son. Memphis, he was 4 at the time. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? Like the NFL is clearly shot. Like I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. All I've known is football. I got a bullshit degree in sociology and psychology. Um, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. But I just kind of sat there and just kind of got in my head a little bit. I talked with my parents, my older brothers, and luckily I had a strength coach reach out to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I think you need to make a run at this." And it was Josh Cooper. I don't know if you remember that name.
mm.
Um,
Does he
but
do
yeah,
like performance training?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I think
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So he hit me up and he's like, give it a shot. And I was like, is it even worth it? And he's like, I got an agent that wants to represent you, and got in contact with him. And I mean, that was probably a month or two, maybe even 3 after I got kicked off the team. So I I put on some weight, some not good weight, and I was just in the dumps and didn't throw a football. And Anyways, I was like, you know what, to hell with it. Why not give it a good old college try? And got my ass in shape. Ended up getting invited to the pro day at South Carolina. First time seeing Coach Spurrier and all those guys, and since I got kicked off, and threw it really well. Got invited to the regional combine and then the national combine. It wasn't the big one, but the region or the national one in Detroit. Talked with all the teams there. They just couldn't get past the all the off the field shit. So ended up going to Canada, and I was up there for 2 years. But yeah, the whole just the roller coaster of my college career and everything else was just wild.
So I got a
Man,
question, man. I ain't gonna lie. So like, it sounds like you were like targeted in a way. Did you have any reason why they would do that to you?
Not really. I maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't necessarily know. And what's crazy, man, is that I didn't burn any bridges when I left South Carolina, except for the athletic director, and he's no longer there, so I don't give a shit.
mm,
uh, but it's worked out though, man. I was always taught never to burn bridges. So I tried my best not to, especially with the university and the teammates and Coach Spurrier. And now I got a South Carolina podcast, and you go up there, and they basically just give me the key to the city, and it's actually pretty cool.
that's fire. But hey, I want to ask you this question just from the human perspective, because obviously from the outside looking in, like all the fans, they don't really consider high level college football players, NFL players like human. But like in the human perspective, I know you mentioned that you didn't burn any bridges, but was there ever a part like of where you felt resentment from the university just because like you've done so much? Like I'm not sure what the statistic was, but I'm pretty sure you were the last quarterback to beat Alabama from like it was some crazy statistic, like beating Alabama, really turning the program around. 4-star recruit, could have went anywhere, could have went to a big major program, but wanted to build something in South Carolina, and all you did for the program. And like Ern said, really felt like you were targeted after all that, just because being honest, like situations like that happen at Penn State, like if you this law, I'm just putting it as like a lot of that stuff wouldn't even have came out, but just in terms of like that happening to you, like did you ever feel resentment from the university?
Absolutely,
Wow,
absolutely. You're saying like, did I resent the university?
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I resented not only the university, the entire city of Columbia, the entire state of South Carolina. I
Wow.
wanted like I didn't watch a game for the last for after like maybe, I don't think it was like 2 years. I was like, I'm not watching the game. Not watching a game. I don't want anything to do with them. If the city of Columbia burnt to the ground, I would not be upset. Uh, and that's a terrible way to live life. And again, I was young, I was pissed off. Uh, but I had nobody to be pissed off at other than myself.
Right.
Nobody forced me to freaking do the drinking off the field,
Mhm.
um, or doing whatever. Um, so yeah, I kind of just got to grow up. But yeah, man, I was extremely pissed off and resentful for a good amount of time. But
Right.
like you said, man, it's like I poured so much sweat, so many tears, so much blood into this shit. And then y'all just at the blink of an eye just say, "Yep, you're out of here, you're done." Like that's to me, that's just, fucked up, just to be completely honest. Um, yeah, and it hurt for a while, man. But like I said, kind of got over it, kind of like figured out like, man, I had nobody to blame except for myself. And just and Coach Spurrier told me something. He said, "Time heals all." So after a little bit of time goes by, you'll kind of figure it out, and these fans will forgive you. And to be honest, man, there's fans that still talk some shit to me on social media, and I'm the kind of guy, Jordan, as you know, like I'm not gonna just let anything kind of
Be talking
slide.
back. You're gonna be responding,
Yeah,
even if they
yeah,
apply.
yeah. I'll let it fly. I don't care. I consider myself pretty uncancelable. So yeah, I don't give a shit about hurting somebody's feelings, but. Yeah, man, it was a tough couple years there, and you gotta dig yourself out of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know you kind of hinted at it, but like what would you say was like did something trigger your acceptance of like your situation for what it is, and like if you did not resent the school anymore, or is it just like that time heals everything? Was that kind of what
I
happened?
think I think the time heals everything, and it's like, well, I got so much other shit that I'm focused on. Like, why am I still looking in the rearview mirror?
Yeah.
Right? It's like I want to do this, I want to accomplish this, and I got a son to raise, and I want to do other things in my life. I can't, I'll never move forward if I'm keep looking backwards. And that's kind of where it started. And after that, I'm starting, I got on like Instagram and Twitter. I wish I would have had that, when I was playing. Especially now that like, your social media is pretty much everything. Um, but some of these fans that would reach out to me on Facebook are like, "Hey, do you have a jersey for sale? Like, I would love to buy a jersey. Do you have this for sale? Like, I would love to do, can you do like an autograph signing? We'll pay you to do this." And I'm like, "Man, you guys, like, I didn't realize that you guys actually still wanted any of my shit. Like, sure." And that's kind of what's really cool. And I when I go up there and I'll take the time, especially when I'm going to games. I'll people ask for signed stuff, I'll sign it, and they're like, "Oh, that's so nice." Like a bunch of the other guys, they don't sign anything. They're too busy, or they don't want to do it. It's like like football is this much of your life. Like how happy you'll make some little kids signing a helmet or a hat or something. Like yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's the least I could do.
Yeah, 100%.
So
But
just
I wish I could have been paid for it though.
Yeah.
I'm already knowing. Just in terms, just in terms of you now, like you mentioned previously, like your son, he's now getting to the age. I'm not gonna lie, he's gonna be cold. But just in terms of just watching his growth and development, what do you see for him in his game?
He needs to put on some weight, that's for damn sure.
Mm.
He was at Steinbrenner the last 3 years. Their coach kind of just abruptly resigned.
Wow.
Um, yeah, right in January. So, he
Uh-oh.
yeah, so Memphis was like, "Hey man, Jefferson needs a quarterback. His mom lives in that district. Like,
Crazy.
I think that may be the move." And I'm like, "Memphis, no. You start something, you finish it. That's what we're doing." That's because I mean, going back, like why I was so resentful with South Carolina, not to go back to that, but I remember sitting with Coach Spurrier and David Reeves at the time, who was the quarterback coach. They were like, "We will let you, we'll let you transfer, and we're not going to withhold you from going to another SEC school." Because that was back then, they could
Yeah.
withhold you from going to other schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Coach, listen, I committed to you. I want to play for you. I want to finish my career with you. And, I want to do what you told me we were going to do. You want to start your own traditions." So I'm not a transfer guy. And, when Memphis asked about doing that, I didn't really want to. I went to Jefferson, and, it is what it is. But then I got a chance to talk with the coach, and he's like, "Yeah, man, like, we need a quarterback. We're a quarterback away from making a serious run at state. And, we like Memphis's game, and, he's got the lineage and all this other stuff." So I was like, "You know what, Memphis, if this is something you want to do, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. I'm just telling you, man, you never know who else they're talking to or who the hell they have in, their lineup. But if you want to do it, man, let's do it." But as far as his game, man, he's getting there. He's kind of got the swagger a little bit. But like I said, he's got to put on some weight if he wants some serious, like, some P5 attention.
I know that's got to be a surreal moment though.
Oh
That,
yeah, it
that
is. It is.
that you was a starting quarterback, and years later your son comes into the same school in the same role. Like, is he rocking the
No,
same number that you rocked?
he said he wants to have it's either between 9 and 0. He
Ooh,
said his senior has a returning senior has number 5. So I said, "Memphis, you have a different number, man. This is not me, man. This is you. I want you to be your own damn dude.
for
Hmm.
sure.
Create your own stats, do your own shit. Like, don't even look at my name on that board. Who cares? Create your own stuff." But it is kind of crazy, man. Like getting DMs and phone calls and text messages from coaches that they're like, "Yeah, man, I remember watching you in high school. I remember watching you in South Carolina. Like, we're thinking about offering your son. Like, we're gonna come down there
Wow.
and see him in spring." I'm like, "Holy shit, that's pretty cool."
Wow. Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a wild, bro.
yeah. Makes me it makes me feel old as balls though.
Nah, this is definitely a blessing.
Hey man, so we talk about you work with quarterbacks and stuff now, man. So I know that's been I'm sure it's very very exciting. You being a quarterback, working with young guys, man. So just talk to me about why you wanted to like give back to other quarterbacks, and who are some of the most your favorite people to coach so far?
Oh, I'll tell you what, man. I never in a million years did I think I'd be doing this for a living. But it's honestly been so damn cool. Kind of being like that older brother, kind of like father figure type deal with,
Hmm.
you know, kids have a hard time talking to their dads and, kind of explaining what their feelings are kind of deal.
Hmm.
So I tell them, I said, "Look, man, here's my number. You guys contact me with anything, whatever. I'm here for you guys." Cause I was in your shoes not that long ago. So it's been really cool doing that. It keeps me in shape too, which is pretty cool. I get to run around and throw the ball around a little bit. Show these young whippersnappers that I still got it.
Barefoot
Um,
too. He be doing
barefoot,
it barefoot, Ern.
That's
barefoot,
crazy, bro.
all the time. Uh, but yeah, I mean, some of the guys that I really enjoyed was, and I know Jordan remembers them. You remember Charlie Dean, right?
Yeah.
Yep. He was and still is very opinionated and a
Mm.
pain in the ass. But he has great intentions. He's very competitive, ultra competitive. He wants to win more than anything else. Um, he can come across as being an asshole very, very quickly. But yeah, I mean, he was a 2 or 3 year starter at Harvard. Um, you know, transferred to Western Carolina, got hurt, didn't play, but now he's in the corporate world, and he actually comes out and helps train some of the quarterbacks with me.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many guys out there that it's hard to even like kind of pinpoint one, but I mean, all of them are just so unique and come from all over the freaking place, man. I mean, I got guys that are coming from Sarasota, from Orlando, from Spring Hill, from Sebring, all over the place that are coming and training, and it's pretty cool.
Nah, that's super special. And then
That
I
is.
know just going into my last question, just getting ready to just wrap things up with you and your podcast and everything. Who you feel was your favorite guest to have on your show?
Man, it's not even close. It's Melvin Ingram. I mean,
Um,
we were at this place here, Steel Hands Brewing, and so he and Pharaoh Cooper got inducted to the Hall of Fame that weekend, and then we had DJ Swearinger, who played, I don't know,
JP.
7 or 8 years in the league. So all
Wow.
three of those guys were down for that weekend. So I drove up there, and man, we were just crushing beers, and
Uh
they were like, yeah, I want some Henny. I was like, fuck it, man. I'll drink some Henny. I don't
oh.
give a shit.
Hey, Ern, he ain't no stranger to danger, Ern. Come on.
No, man,
Bro,
no.
I'm
So
already knowing.
so we go in there, and the University of South Carolina actually is producing and editing our podcast. So they were like,
Wow.
don't say the F word, don't say, GD, limit the cuss words. And Melvin was just letting it absolutely ride. I think they said there was like 3,000 words they had to remove.
Wow.
And dude, it was so funny. But I mean, to be honest, man, that's what these fans. That's by far our most viewed episode. That's what fans want to hear. They don't want to hear the bullshit. You
Yeah, that
know,
press conference, bro. Nobody want to hear
yeah,
that,
no,
bro.
no. That they if they want to do that, they'll watch ESPN or something else, man.
Exactly.
They want to hear exactly what these guys are thinking. That's kind of why Pat and I started this podcast. Is like, what is underneath your helmet? Like, who the hell are you other than a football player? And be raw, like, tell us what it is. And since the start of the new year, we've kind of shifted away, and now we're on YouTube. So now it's all out there, all the words and all the stories. And there's no editing, so it's pretty cool.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
that's what me and Ern we wanted to do that, and like you mentioned, missing the locker room. Them locker room conversations, like that's why
Good.
whenever we get a previous athlete, hey, we don't want those PR type answers. We want the
Yeah,
locker room
exactly.
type
That
answers.
authentic.
A
Yes,
hundred
sir.
percent. 100%, man. That's what people, that's what people respect more. They're not going to respect if you're kind of beating around the bush. That's Jordan, when you said, like, is there anything you don't want to talk about? Well, no. Google's already out there, man. It's people already know. I'm
Hey,
not
man.
afraid of
You know
I'm
how
not afraid
people
of
be
saying it.
though, man. You know how people be when they get to a certain stage. You know how that goes, man. You know,
Or, man,
talk about it.
some of the stories that people go like ask me about when I go up to South Carolina. Hey, man, I heard you had a pet monkey that you took around in 5 points, and you would feed him like breadcrumbs. So I'm like, what? What do you like? You're shitting me, right? Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, they were like, "Hey, man, I heard you had a cowboy hat on and a bulletproof vest at Village Idiot." I'm like, "Yes, that's
That's
true.
true.
Yes, that is true."
So, are you gonna deny the rumor that you didn't have beer in the Gatorade bottle?
When? Where? With Team Tampa. Oh man,
Nah, hey,
no.
but be honest, Steven. Hey, this is an open platform. Hey, it's in the past. Have you or have you not
Oh God.
ever coached a game drunk and won or
Oh,
hungover?
absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, man. Hey, I'll be honest with you, man. It's a blessing and a curse. I do not get hungover. I don't know.
Oh, heck.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hey, you a
it's
dog, bro.
hey, it's. I'm telling you, it's not. I'm not trying to flex or brag or whatever. It's. I have not been hungover since my official visit at South Carolina.
Whoa.
Hey, before we
Whoa.
let you go,
Whoa.
we don't have to go into all details, but what that official visit was like.
Holy shit! You know exactly what it was like, man. I mean, you had official visits before. You know what the hell it goes down. George trying to get me freaking
Nah,
caught over here.
Yeah,
Aaron, hey,
man.
Aaron, it's about that time, Aaron. Go
It's
ahead.
not. It's not. Hey, I never took an
No, but
official
man, yeah,
visit, but I know what happens.
oh yeah, man, it's insane, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I mean the rules. So before I let you guys let me go, there was no iPhone when I was on my official visit.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, I mean if there was, God only knows what kind of. Maybe I did have a monkey on my shoulder at one point. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro.
Oh, dead, man.
Honestly, that might have made your case a lot worse. They had phones and social media was popping like it is
Oh,
now.
Oh,
Oh my
100%.
goodness.
I would have been absolutely cooked real quick.
Wait, no, I got a question for you. So you think you would have had like a Johnny Manziel type of art if social media was around?
Listen to this, man. Johnny Manziel's athletic director or athletic advisor
Mhm.
was my athletic advisor at South Carolina, Raymond Harrison, Rodney Harrison's brother. Y'all know who Rodney Harrison is.
Yeah, the
yeah.
safety.
So his brother Raymond Harrison was our athletic academic advisor. So Raymond Harrison calls me. I answer the phone and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Garcia," and I'm like, "Raymond, I don't really have much. I don't give a shit what you have to say. Like, what do you want?" He's like, "Well, we have this quarterback here at Texas A&M. Not sure if you've heard of him." I'm like, "You talking about Johnny Manziel? Yeah, man, he just won the fucking Heisman. I know exactly what you're talking about."
Oh, shit.
He's like, "Well, he reminds me of a certain someone." I'm like, "Let me guess. He reminds you of me." He's like, "Ah, yes, man, very inquisitive." He was a very smart ass kind of guy.
I'm
Mm,
already
mm.
knowing.
And he's like, "Hey man, if I connect you two together, will you kind of tell him, kind of what you did wrong and kind of what you regret and see if maybe you can kind of get him right?" I'm like, "Hold on, Raymond. You want me to tell this kid who's a sophomore that just won a fucking Heisman? You want me, my old ass, you want me to tell him he ain't gonna listen to a damn thing I have to say." Like,
Over
no,
with.
man. Like, absolutely, there's no chance. I'd love to shoot the shit with the guy and kind of tell stories, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell him what not to do. He's not gonna listen to a damn thing.
Man, Johnny was on top of the world too. He out there with Drake,
Oh,
Bron, everybody to be at like nothing was gonna stop that.
no,
Over with.
absolutely not.
Was gonna stop
Absolutely not. But yeah, and I tell you what, he seems like he's kind of turned his life around for the better. And
that. Hmm.
I know he's got the podcast and fucking guys stole like three of our guests that we were gonna have, South Carolina guys. I'm like, I tell you, he had Alshon, Marcus, and shit, there was a third guy. But anyways, I text Alshon and Marcus. I was like, dude, you're gonna get on his shit before you get on our podcast? Like, what the hell, man?
Trust.
So yeah, no kidding. But yeah, it's Menzel was definitely in the he was me after me.
Mm,
For sure.
shoot. But hey, let me just ask my one last question, Ern, before we go. Who are your top three quarterbacks that you try to model your game after, if any?
When I was playing,
Yep,
I mean, I was a huge Brett Favre guy.
I can tell.
Um, yeah, Brett Favre and rest in peace, Steve McNair. I used to love Steve McNair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I was a Titans fan, Eddie George fan. I don't even know why. Um, and then the third one, I would say Vic, man, but I was I was not that fast. I was the Cuban Vic, the Cuban and German Vic.
hey, that's a solid three though.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, I used to love Brett Favre and watching him, kind of grow up, and I was like, this guy throws the absolute piss out of the ball. Doesn't care where it goes, he's letting it rip. So that's kind of where I molded my style off of.
Solid.
Yeah, man. Well, this was fun as shit, guys. I appreciate you guys even asking me to be on here.
For sure,
Of
man.
course, Ern. You already know. Hey, Ern, you know what time it
Oh
is.
yeah, man. It's the last question of the show, man. This is patented. We do do this at the end of every episode. I ask our guests, who do you think that you will be that you know that would be a great person on our show.
Damn. I mean, what are you guys going for? What's the theme on this whole thing?
Hey man, anybody
Just
who will be good to come chop it up, man.
That's all it is, bro.
but I mean, you guys are thinking like athletes, college level, pro
Anybody,
Any
level,
level.
anybody like any sport specific or just any
Mm-mm.
anything, any sport, any level,
I
anybody you think
mean,
will be good, come chop it up. Get the real.
We get down everybody, bro.
hey, you may not like this answer. What about Grady?
Oh no.
Grady might be a good one to come chop it up with, though.
I'm telling you, he might. He's got. You want to
I
talk about
know he
someone
got
who's
some
got some?
stories, and he
I
got
He's
some.
know
got.
this heavy. Oh my god.
Hey, we
He's
might have
got
to
no.
make that happen, man,
He's got no shortage of stories.
for sure.
Um, but dude, man, you guys know so many damn guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys can get whoever the hell you wanted to. And if you guys needed help with the South Carolina guys or somebody else, I mean, don't hesitate to ask me.
For
For
sure.
sure. Hey, now that you gave that invite, hey, we might be sending some DMs to you.
Is
Just
he
for some
shit?
strings. So shoot, you
Yeah.
open that door.
I'll text you. I'll text you, Jordan, or I'll DM you and send you my number. And dude, anything you need, man.
All right. But
You
yeah,
heard it.
hey, y'all heard it, man. This was a
Y'all
great
heard it.
episode, man. Big shout out to Stephen Garcia for hopping on with us, man. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate you guys and keep kicking ass, man.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir. Like, comment,
Bye,
subscribe.
boys.
Y'all know what to do.